Stand there, stand there. As you ask your
So
question.
my question,
Please listen. Do not be noisy.
my
Okay.
question is about the land of Israel in our time, in our events, in our time. So what will happen in the prophecy about the invasion of Israel in modern time?
So let me give a short history. Israel originally was invaded several times, not just in the Old Testament, even in the New Testament. The New Testament, they're under the occupation of the Romans. In the Old Testament, they were invaded by Assyria, then by Babylon. Egypt did not invade, in a sense, occupy her. Although Assyrians did not occupy too long because they were God chastised them back. So Egypt just passed by Israel in fighting with the Hittites. But there were no land of Israel yet. There was not yet a land wherein as a nation. Then from Babylon there is Medo-Persia. Medo-Persia became the saviors. You read Isaiah 45:1. Cyrus was anointed. Right, Shia. Shia is Messiah. Cyrus is a savior, redeemer. So Medo-Persia was used by God to redeem them from the Babylonians. Alexander the Great came. He passed by Israel, but one of his descendant generals, Antiochus Epiphanes, occupied the land and oppressed them. Now came the Romans. The Romans occupied Israel. Israel had a temporary independence through the Maccabees. So the Maccabees gave Israel a temporary independence. Then they were taken over by the Romans. That's the time of the New Testament event, when the New Testament were written down. They were under the Romans. There was a rebellion, but they were quashed by the Romans. That was 70 AD. But there's another rebellion. Temporarily, again, they were independent. They were able to thwart the Romans temporarily under Bar Kokhba. Then there's the final invasion, final destruction. The temple was in ruins, but it's the city that will finally be desolated. Now, fast forward to the temple was destroyed in 70 AD, but the rest of the country was ravaged in suppressing the Bar Kokhba rebellion. Now, the rest of Israel are barren, desolate. Its people are dispersed throughout Europe, throughout Africa, everywhere, Asia. How about invasion? Invasion continued. What's the next invasion? The Muslim invasions. Who held the areas before the Muslim invasion? Christians. There were the Orthodox Christians, the Greek, and there were the Roman Catholic Christians. But there were no separation yet between Roman and Greek Orthodox, Roman Catholic and Orthodox. They were all nominally Christians. It's the beginning of the Dark Ages, when the Muslim scourge came in, and they were all converted to Islam. For 1,000 years, the Dark Ages, the Muslims crept onto Europe. The Muslims reached Europe. In Spain and France, Spain became a province of Islam. So You heard of the place called Alhambra. That's a time that the Muslims occupied Spain. And there was a hero from Spain named Roland that pushed them out. When Columbus discovered America, they were able to free Spain, free Europe from the Muslims. But after before Columbus, in between the millennium, the 10th century, there was the Crusades. So they were encroaching on Europe, Spain. They were almost in the doors of Europe. They're about to swallow up Europe. The Pope called upon a holy war, a crusade, to throw out the infidels, the Muslims. In throwing them out, they were killing Orthodox churches also. Because in the 10th century, the Greek Orthodox Church separated from the Roman Catholic Church.
The Romans killed the...
There's no more Roman Empire, Romans, Latin like Italians. No. They're the whole Roman Catholic, the Holy Roman Empire. It's a religion. Roman versus Greek. Remember that in Ezekiel 38, 39. It's a combination. Medo-Persia and Greece. Anyway, when they were trying to take the promised land back, they passed through Constantinople. They passed through Istanbul. They murdered Orthodox Greek churches, Orthodox Greek Christians. Remember, while they were under Islam, they lived peacefully together. But when the Roman Catholics passed by, they did not distinguish between Orthodox Christians, Greek Orthodox Christians, and Muslims. They just killed everyone. Men, women, and children. You know the war in Yugoslavia that became the Bosnian War? It's a war between Orthodox and Catholics. Croatia is Catholic. Serbia is Orthodox. Backed up by Russia.
Constantinople is Orthodox.
The Greek Orthodox retreated to Russia. So, when the war started, Bosnia was the center of the conflict. Croatia was Catholic. Serbia was Orthodox. They're just venting revenge on each other. That revenge was not just after World War I or World War II. That revenge was way back then during the Crusades. They had that deep hatred instilled in them. What is your question?
Constantinople is an Orthodox Christian.
That was the name of the city of Istanbul before it became Istanbul. Constantinople came from the name of Constantine. Emperor Constantine switched his headquarters to the east, so to better manage the Roman Empire, because they're too far stretched. So they need another capital to manage the affairs. There became two emperors there. Now, so when they passed through that place to go to Israel, Israel was invaded again. This time by crusading Christians. Crusading Christians were thwarted back again by, reclaimed. The area of Jerusalem, Israel, was reclaimed by the Muslims again. If that was the final time, it will be held. Let's fast forward to the future. The place known as Palestine, the Middle East, the Mediterranean, the Africa and Saudi Arabia, and Iran and Jordan, all of those places, even Egypt. Listen. That in World War I, the dynasty continued. That's called the Ottoman Empire. They held a very big swath of land. That's what They held a caliphate. That's why when ISIS came to power, they wanted to restore the caliphate. The caliphate is a nation of Islam. Not many nations you see today. Egypt, Jordan, Lebanon, Syria, like that. Everyone, all of those countries, Iran, Saudi Arabia, Iraq, they were all under the Ottoman Empire in World War I. Do your research, look at the map. They have a land area as big as Europe. And Turkey was the center of it. They were called Ottoman Turks. They were under Islamic Turks. So, these joined the Germans in World War I. So the final invasion of Muslims under Saladin, after the Crusades, all that area became Ottoman Turk. Ottoman Turk Empire. The Turkish Empire. But after World War I, they lost World War I. So they have to give up all those lands. That's the time you see the present boundaries today. Saudi Arabia, Iraq, Iran, Syria, many others. It was the British who gave those boundaries. Kuwait, Qatar. It was the British. There's another invasion. The British invaded that Holy Land again in World War I. So the British held that Middle Eastern section of the world until the independence in 1948. During World War I, the Jews, the Zionist Jews, were pressing for an independent nation for Israel. The Zionist movement is a movement that the Jews will be brought back to their own land. And that promise, the Zionist movement started somewhere in 1800s. But Zionist movement eventually fulfilled its dream in 1948. Before they gained their independence in 1948, whisper questions so you can follow up the subject. Before they gained their independence, did you know that the Jews resorted to terrorism? Who are they terrorizing? The British. They're not yet terrorizing the Palestinians. But eventually the Palestinians will become terrorists themselves against Israel. But before the Palestinians became terrorists, some of the Jews would resort to that measure until the British would grant them independence. So they bombed hotels like that. So I saw a documentary, you can check it out. Then, after Israel gained its independence, 1948, it was still a small country, smaller than what you see today. 5 nations, I think, all its surrounding nations suddenly attacked Israel. That's the modern day war. But there is no invasion of Israel anymore. It will not be until Zechariah chapter 14. 1948, they will be still like Zechariah chapter 12. They will be like David. More than David, because that small nation will be so
The cup of trembling.
to other nations. So from chapter 12 to chapter 14, something happened. That's our period right now. Chapter 14 will be the final invasion of Israel. And that will be in Armageddon. And why would Israel be invaded? The Europe and the East will come together to take over the land, because the Antichrist, of course they don't put on him as Antichrist, but a troublemaker, and history would vouch for that. It happened in the past, like Antiochus Epiphanes and others. He will be pressed in the middle, and he will sit in the temple of God, showing himself that he is God, but he will lose control of the world. Take note, the papacy held sway the hearts of the world. But at that time, the papacy will no longer be relevant. These nations, as it happened in Dark Ages, these nations will become independent and kill the woman riding her. So, the Europe and the East, kings from the East, will converge at Armageddon. And of course, Jerusalem will be invaded. Where are the believers? Where are what was asked a while ago? I hope it was not cut, but the question a while ago, the bride in Revelation 7:14, the 144,000 is included there. That's the period of time. So when they converge on that, the final invasion of Israel will be there. The next invasion will be in the middle season. But of course, they will not take over the holy city in geographical spot. That geographical spot. They will only take over the surrounding area. Still, that's invasion. The final one will be the tribulation in our time. The final, in all history, in all time, will be in the middle season. Those will be the final invasion. Now your question, how about Ezekiel 38-39? Will they be able to invade Israel? No. Why? They will be stopped in their tracks by God Himself. God will intervene and destroy the forces. How would God destroy the forces that would come over the land? God will just throw blizzards over the attacking planes. Take note of what was described in Ezekiel 38. He will come as a cloud. He will come as a cloud. So it's not a ground attack. It's an aerial attack. This aerial attack will be thwarted by God, not by Israel. Because as far as Israel is concerned, they have no match for
That's
that.
God's intervening.
It is God who will intervene. So that invasion will not push through. That invasion they will not succeed in invading Israel. Will Israel expand its borders? The old contender, Brother Jackson, the one who borrowed contender must be returned.
That is
You have to
miraculous.
ask for a multa. Multa in English, I forgot. Fee. Penalty fee. So you have to get back to contender that was borrowed. So let me finish. Just let me finish. So, will Israel expand its borders? I saw in the old contender, but the Jackson's drawing is too big. But the drawing was just made by hand. The real map shows it's a small slit, an elongated slit, vertical slit in the Middle East. So it's not that big, okay? But still, if they occupy the Golan Heights, Beishan, as it's written in the Bible,
You're talking about the moment.
Jordan, Sinai, and whatever,
Gulan Heights, saka yung
then the one down, Edom.
Gulan Heights in the
Syria.
Eastern-
So, that's Beishan in the Bible.
eastern part.
Will there be a miraculous war so that they will take over the Temple Mount and begin rebuilding the temple? The rebuilding of the temple is what would cause Ezekiel 39 to be provoked into war. Okay? Okay, ask the question.
So in Habakkuk chapter 2, verse 4.
Please record your question in the camera.
So in Habakkuk chapter 2, verse 14, for the earth shall be filled with the knowledge of the glory of the Lord as the waters covers the sea. So where did it happen? It is happened before the millennium.
So you begin from the millennium. You can all go to the eternal age. Otherwise, if there are technical people who wish to say, oh, there's no sea in the eternal age. So whatever. It is starting from the millennium. Remember the waters. You know Ezekiel chapter 47. It talks of rivers of living water flowing out from Jerusalem. It will fill the whole desert places of Arabia. And the whole desert places will become like the Garden of Eden. So as the waters covers the sea. It has many types. But it just shows millennium peace and prosperity will come over the world. Okay, other questions?
No more.
No more.
Clarification.
Come here to the camera.
So you said that the sizes of the map sizes in modern age, it's still
This is the drawing of Brother Jackson.
yes.
This is the real drawing of the map.
So that is a small than
Yes.
Brother Jackson.
So if you add Bashan and Edom, just like that, not that big. Actually, this drawing is Arafat's counter-claim to Israel, against Israel, that they are imperialistic, that Israel wants to take over the whole Arabian Peninsula. So he shows a point that this Israel really wants to invade all of you. Now, I'd like to say something. That is not the plan of political Israel today, but that will take place under Revelation. Because you read Ezekiel 47, Zechariah 14, rivers of living water taking over Arabia.
How Israelites can live in that smaller country? The Israel is a bigger nation
In what?
I mean, there are so many
People?
yes
Not
around
as
the world.
many as
Around the world.
Gentiles, nations, other Gentile nations. No matter how many they are, they can still fit in.
They're in.
Okay.
Because the Bible said they will go to
We're
Israel.
talking of Armageddon.
No. Before Armageddon, they will live there. After
They
the
will
Ezekiel
escape
38.
in the wilderness. Of course, Jacksonites would rather say they went to America. Okay? But we have scriptures. We were still in Pinono when I checked the scriptures. They will be hidden somewhere in the Judean wilderness.
That's Peter.
Petra?
Petra.
Petra is just one of them. Of course, the Jacksonites said, how could they be in Petra? The Antichrist would easily, like Pastor Billy just recently, the Antichrist would easily catch them up. But the Antichrist is not after them. The Antichrist is after the political Jews. Okay. Could you go there so it can be recorded? Go there. Go there because everyone's standing up. Please record. Stand behind. You have to stand behind because I can be recorded. You're facing me. You have to stand behind the camera. So stand behind. Stand near Barbito. What is white? No, I'm not looking for the image. I'm looking for the sound. Please stand behind it so you can. Okay, face the camera. Face the camera.
Daniel 8 is
Face your mouth there. Okay.
Daniel 8 is
Use microphone.
Daniel 8, there is little horn there. And Daniel 7, there is little horn also. But sometimes we apply Daniel 8 little horn to the Romans. But we apply it in the end time to the Pope, right? But the context is that this comes from the Greek. The Greek. How is it? That the application is how do we apply it?
Do you understand Revelation 13? The beast in Revelation 13 is an amalgamation of all the beasts in Daniel 7. It's a combination of all the beasts. So yes, they are just stepping stone. Next time I'm going to talk about 4 bugs that ate Israel. It's a type of the denomination.
For insect?
Or you can say insects, but actually caterpillar is not insect. There's a caterpillar there. So I just use the word bugs. You can say insects, but insects are locusts. That's one of them. Okay. Okay, let's all stand up. way, caterpillar becomes a butterfly. Okay, so let's give a closing prayer. I request those